boys shouldn't be able to cry. So I very intentionally had the two main characters in my story be a Black man and a Black boy, talking about how it's okay to share your feelings, and it's actually a really brave thing to do. So it was definitely a passion project for me during 2020, and it was really amazing to get it out there for the world to see at the very end of the year in December. And just to give a little bit more background about me, I have a background in educational and developmental psychology. So I spent my master's program really learning how to teach children to express themselves and how to talk through their feelings. I have a dog, Marshall, who I'm obsessed with, and I also was recently engaged in 2020, so planning a wedding in 2021 has been a little interesting, but still fun. And yeah, if I'm not writing or reading or binging some Netflix show, I am outside running around with my dog or hiking with my fiance.
Well, that's great. Thank you. I want to thank you for writing a book like that, because it is important that, you know, we do teach our children, especially young boys, that it is okay and that it's brave to cry. So I actually enjoyed reading that book, and I'll be sharing it. I do reading sessions with my niece and granddaughters, and your book is one of the ones we're going to be reviewing this Sunday. So I want to thank you for that. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to go to, I took my headphones off because I wanted to make sure that I could interact, and those headphones kind of get in my way, but can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, great. So now we're going to talk to Miss Alberta Sequeira. Alberta, is that the right way to pronounce your last name?
You're close. It's Sequeira.
Sequeira. Okay, thank you. So
I had to get married. I had to take the name.
So we have a lot of information about you, and I too enjoyed reading your book, and I could identify with a lot of things that was going on in there. And let me say a little bit about you, and you can share your journey with us as well. So we know you're an author, motivational speaker on alcohol abuse, director, producer, and co-founder of Authors Without Borders. You also do writing for the Cape Cod Today Blog and teaches Writers Workshop. So the book that you're going to be sharing with us this evening is Someone Stop This Merry-Go-Round, which is an alcoholic family in crisis. Now, this is one of three memoirs. This one is about losing your ex-husband, Richard Lopes, from alcohol abuse.
Yes.
And it shows the reality of a wife and mother behind closed doors who live silently, enabling the drinker, while the two young daughters live in fear, confusion, and insecurity. Alberta, can you tell us a little bit more about your journey?
Well, my name's Alberta Sequeira. I'm from Dartmouth, Mass. And I notice I'm not on. Did I miss clicking on something?
I can see you.
Oh.
Hear you.
Okay. Right now I'm retired, living in a senior center with my husband. God bless him. He hardly sees me until I come out of the computer room. But I started being an author and a speaker after I did lose my husband and my daughter, which I had no plans. I thought my husband and I would be traveling. But once I actually started, it started to really hit home. Someone Stop the Merry-Go-Round is a book that was very hard for me to write, because I opened up honestly about the wrong I think I did. I know when we all lose someone, we look back and what should we have done? Would this have been better? But I looked at myself honestly and I said, there were things I could have done better, but when I met Richie, I was 18 years old. I had no knowledge at all on what alcohol abuse was about. To write the book, it wasn't easy because I had to get his family to okay it, because they own Lopes Construction in Taunton. It's a very large company. It took a year to get their permission. So in the book, I opened up very strongly about the fighting, the blaming, the threatening, and worst of all, I say out of all of it, is the enabling, because we don't realize it innocently, but we bring the drinker deeper into their addiction. After I wrote that, I never thought I'd be going down the same path with my daughter, Laurie. She was 39 when she died. She feared dying like her father, and she did the same. But Laurie not only was on alcohol, but she was also on drugs. So those two books were hard to write. I wouldn't really call them memoirs. I myself call them books of lessons because I open up honestly on what I think today that I should have done back then, but I didn't have the education. But now I'm working on a book. After 14 years, I have an agent, and I call it the conclusion to the two books because I wanted to know, what are we all doing wrong? Because the death rate is just going up with alcoholism. So I got 34 contributors who agreed to write for me. I did not write the book. I just wrote their stories. And they're from America, and they're also from Canada, from all walks of life. And in fact, one girl, 16, she's had 2 heart attacks from her drinking and her use. I start in the book. Also, kids start as young as 3 years old. So that book is with the agent, and I'm working right now and hoping that there's a traditional publisher that will believe in it. But I'm also working on, and I have books all over the place right now. I have The Rusty Years. It's a two-series book. It's my first fictional, and that's I've sent that out to I don't know how many publishers. Right now I have A Sample of Heaven, which is a Christian book on my trip to Medjugorje, and that is with the Medjugorje publisher right now. But I'm hoping when that's done, I'm working on a book about my father, who was a brigadier general in the Army. And I named it From War to Flashbacks, about our private life with him. And at the same time, it was hard researching when you never ask your parents when they're alive about their life. So I'm hoping for that to get going. And I'm also jumping up for someone who never wanted to write. In the background, I was just telling Rebecca and the others that I have a book. It's about seniors, and I named it Grit Your Teeth and Smile, It Only Gets Worse. And so I'm really active, and I love to teach workshops, but right now I'm going through what all of us are going through with the virus. We can't go anywhere to talk. I can't teach classes. So I'm just continuing with my fingers on the keyboard and see what happens.
Very good. Thank you, Alberta. So far, so good in terms of timing. Thank you. You have a lot on your plate that you're doing. You've been through a lot, and I want to thank you for sharing your journey, which is, the experience of the tragedies and everything, as well as, you having the ability to go on in your life. And I'm sure that people, are being inspired and encouraged to know that no matter what happens, that you're a source of strength to keep going on. So please continue. I'll look forward to reading some of the other material that you're working on. So next, I'm going to go to Vicki. And Vicky Weidemann, Victor, are you on the call? I see you on my screen.
Right here.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. So I'm going to do a little brief introduction, and then you can tell us about the anthology that you have worked on. You tell us a little bit about yourself, and you'll have 5 minutes once I finish reading the information I have on you, okay? So Vicky Weidemann Victor is a veteran, writer, published author, and producer, the mother of 2 adult children, and she lives in Dorchester. She's one of the contributors that I mentioned in the anthology, Writes On, and her story is called Tootsie. Write On is a collection of short stories, poems, and one play. The anthology was inspired by the collaboration of the Friends of the Upham's Corners writers, the BFIT, Boston Home Community Writers, and with the help of Authors Without Borders. So welcome, Miss Vicki.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the title of your book, and just a little bit more about what the book is?
Okay, like you said before, the book is an anthology. It's called Write On, We did it with the collaboration of the Uplands Corner writers and the BFIT home community writers. BFIT writers are multiple sclerosis writers. So that was a very nice thing. And I was one of the instructors along with, I think Lily's on. We taught the class, and we are members of the Uplands, Friends of the Uplands Corner Library. So we did a writer's class, and this is a combination of all the writers that was in the class. And I was one of the contributors, like you said, and the name of my story is Tootsie. I am the mother of two, no more children, they're young adults. So I kind of get to get my life back a little bit.
That's good.
That's pretty much. I mean, I'm originally from Alabama, but I've been up here so long. Everybody wants to call you a Northerner, but I cannot get rid of my Southern roots. I refuse to give up my Southern roots, even though Boston's been my home for over 50 years.
Yeah, it's all that's still a part of what makes you you, huh?
Yeah, I love my grits. And the book we're using as a fundraising tool, because what we want to eventually do is write another anthology. So we do have, yeah. So the promotion, we're promoting the book so that we can be able to do this again. And I also want to say that as a tool for the Friends of the Uplands Corner Library, and you can buy the book on Amazon, or you can get the book at the Uplands Corner Library. And the promotion, we're doing it through Willie's Web, and we're doing it through Ted Lewis' production of Vimos. Is that how you pronounce it, Vimos? So that's pretty much where I am. I haven't done any writing. I'm not a writer, but I love writing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
I love writing, but I'm not a writer, per se. But I love putting words on paper, and I love the way it makes people feel. I love the way when people read your written work, even if they don't like it, at least they can say something about it. And when they like it, it's a good feeling to know that you can move people.
Very good. Well, thank you, Vicki. So yeah, I'm listening to you say that you're not a writer, and I'm thinking that many of us probably started out, not really knowing, well, at least myself, not knowing that I was going to write a book. But once you get that pen and paper and you start writing, next thing you know, you want to do something else and you want to continue to share. So I appreciate your contributions to the book. So we're going to go to next. Actually, Susan, I'm going to ask you to do me another favor here, because I didn't hit the record button when you did a brief introduction of yourself. So I'm going to ask you if you could do your author introduction, tell us a little bit about your book, and then go in and start reading from your book. Would that be okay with you? I'd like to capture your beginning part as well. I hope you all don't mind, okay? So do you mind, Miss Susan?
That's fine.
Okay, great. So you got double duty.
All right. Do you want to get me at the tail end of it or now?
Well, why don't I catch you now, because we're coming to you for live reading. So just kind of do your introduction and then go into your book. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So my name is Susan Drayton. I'm from the South Coast area. I grew up loving the arts, drawing, sketching. I always did that as a child. I really didn't have anyone who took me under their wing to foster that talent. I did it on my own, but I knew I needed fine tuning to later on as an adult is when I took it more seriously. And I jumped in and found an art studio in South Dartmouth through Susan Cabral's art studio. And I do go into nature a lot, and that's where I get my inspiration. I'm very grateful for Mother Earth, who gives us so much in return, and also allows me to be creative. I love going for my walks, hikes, the beach area, and so forth. So the name of my book is Worthiness, and I'll read you the part that I like. So it's about fairies and Seth, who's a dragon. That's all he knows. He's consumed with a lot of worriness. So with the fairies and the help of Mother Earth, he's definitely in a crossroads, and he needs to figure out at this point what he's going to do with himself. Embracing himself or not is the decision that he needs to make. So the part that I will read is, Seth was more worried than before. I am, but me, Seth. I didn't mean to frighten you. I just wanted to know, will I ever become more than what I am now? It's okay, one of the fairies responded. I am Fairy Amaryllis. Can you help me, he asked. The eye can only see where you are headed, and you are moving forward. Amaryllis extended her hands outward. A glow of her inner light poured out of her. Seth, when you embrace the essence of your soul, the magic within you grows from a deeper level. It awakens your strength. You need to believe in yourself, Seth, for you are not broken or damaged.
Wow. So what inspired you to write that book?
Well, I myself was at a crossroad. 4 years ago, I could not suppress what was always in front of me, to take that leap of faith, to go forward and fulfill, I believe, is my purpose. And the purpose is my artwork and my words, I find that are very healing words. And I believe that my purpose is to heal through the arts. And it is going to captivate people that are going to feel drawn to it and that can connect with it. So me being at crossroads myself, there was a lot of changes that I had to do personally in my life, and I didn't know if I was able or capable of doing it, because it was so scary. When you're facing yourself and you're just not sure. But I went through a divorce. The old way of thinking, living had to go. A lot of changes had to happen in order for the new to come in. I wasn't really sure, but I had to really go inward, dive inward, and really do some soul searching. And even to this day, I'm still doing a reality check. You know, do you want this? Do you not want that? Surrounding myself with positive people. And they are positive people out there. Mm-hmm. You just got to know who you are. You got to have a better understanding of who you are. And I think it's true that you do need to take yourself out on a few dates by yourself to just get a good understanding of who you are. I was brought up in a very strict household, and, you did what you were told. And I really wasn't able to express my emotions fully. And if so, it was dismissed. But, looking back, it was very difficult, but those were my lessons. And I had a choice to make. I either become a victim of, oh, this didn't work out, or that didn't work out because of this person, this situation, or I could become victorious.
Okay, I'm gonna end on that, Susan. Thank you so much.
Thank
you for your willingness to recap for us what I originally missed. And thank you all for your patience and allowing me to backtrack myself. The next author that I'm going to ask to read from their book is Miss Rebecca Robinson. And Rebecca, if you could unmute yourself and read us some excerpts from your book.
Yes, definitely. I would love to read my author's note in the beginning of my story. And then if we have time, I'd love to go through the first couple of pages. And if Valerie, if it's okay with you, I'd love to share my screen so you guys can see the illustrations, because my illustrator is very talented, like I was sharing before we got started. But first I'll share my author's note, which says, sometimes kids grow up thinking that in order to be cool, they need to be strong, tough, and brave. They think that in order to be strong, tough, and brave, they can never be scared, never ask for help, and definitely never cry. They are taught to push those weaker feelings deep down so the bravery can shine through. But how are we supposed to learn from these feelings if we keep pushing them away? Feeling the feelings that are hard to feel is a brave thing to do. Talking about the feelings that are hard to talk about is a brave thing to do. And understanding why you feel the way you feel is a very brave accomplishment. It's not always easy, but that's where the bravery comes in, and practice helps too. So think of this before you hide your own tears or judge someone else's view. And lastly, when reading the story, keep in mind that bravery always starts with being unapologetically and authentically you. So that's what the readers will keep in mind before they start the story. And oh shoot, I'm unable to share my screen because I'm not the host, which is totally fine. I can show you guys the pictures this way.
Hi, Rebecca.
So
Rebecca, I just made you the host so that you could co-host so that you could share it.
Oh, okay, wonderful. I am getting a notification that says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. I can show you guys my pictures this way because my illustrator is very talented.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, when Clay came home from school, he was in a very grumpy mood. He tossed his backpack on an empty chair, plopped down to the floor, and let out a big oomph. What's wrong, Clay? His dad asked. You seem upset.
Yes.
Oh, that's cute.
A lot happened today at school. I dropped my lunch on the floor and everyone laughed at me. And then I missed the game-winning shot during recess. But also, I was just sad. I missed my old friends and my old school. I wanted to cry all day, but I didn't. But now I feel mad.
Okay. Oh, I love that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
That does sound like a frustrating and confusing day, said Clay's dad. But Clay, why do you feel like you have to hold in all those feelings for so long? Do you see how upset you are now after holding in these big feelings? It's okay to cry sometimes and let it out. Actually, it's brave to cry. And I'll stop there.
Well, Rebecca, we're going to open up the lines in a minute for questions and answers. Again, I wanted to let you know that I did enjoy reading your book as well. And yes, the illustrations were remarkable. So congratulations on finishing your book and your willingness to share the story and empower our young, especially the boys, that it's okay, but as well as anyone reading that book, because adults also need to know that it's brave to cry as well. So thank you.
Totally, thank you.
So next I'm going to go to Miss Alberta. And Miss Alberta, if you can read from your book, that would be great. We're doing well on time, and you can start when you're ready.
Okay, I'm going to start sort of in the middle of the book to show you the emotions that the non-drinker goes through, where you're trying to keep everything calm in the family. Well, I did because I had two young daughters. We're talking like 2 and 6. So you think children don't realize the stress that's going on, but they do.
Mm.
So this is called Getting on Tranquilizers. And that was the truth because of my nerves. Richie's drinking began to change his moods and personality. He started coming home wanting to fight and follow me through the house, saying things hoping to upset me. I knew he was looking for an argument when he did this. I wanted to scream at him. But because my fear of scaring the girls, I kept quiet. Every day, my anger and bitterness was held back so we could live the best we could as a family. I felt that my husband and daughters were doing all their own things and I was separated from them. We were still going strong as if nothing was happening, when in actuality, our family was falling apart. I started to hate myself for feeling sorry for my husband and having no backbone to make demands. I was going to do anything just to keep it quiet, to keep him calm. But I desperately wanted to split up with my husband, but I had no job. My body became a breeding ground of hate, resentment, lies, tears, delusions, and paralyzing feelings of suffocation. The kids held on to any moment with Richie that he gave them. There would be weeks with him coming home on time and we'd be fine. But I couldn't relax. I was constantly wondering in what condition and what time. So back at this time, I ended up calling my doctor because I needed tranquilizers. I took them like candies. I had about a year that I couldn't even go out of the house. You know, it's now I realize, but I didn't then. At the time, I was actually mad at God. What was going on? That here I am trying to keep my family together and everything was falling apart. But as the years go on and the knowledge you learn about it, I realized it wasn't God, it was me. All of us have choices in life. I enabled him so much. I was a perfect partner for him. I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell my siblings. So what happens, you give the perfect path for him. I got abused. I had a concussion. He tried to choke me. And you know what's more sick? I was more sick because I was afraid if I called the police and had him arrested, that I'd feel guilty over. And what was more sad, I was a dispatcher for the police in town.
Right.
But from embarrassment, he was very well known in his family in town. But now looking at it, when I give my talks, I tell people, do not enable. Get help, and if they don't want help, you know, everybody thinks the way you get help is you divorce. And you do love them because you look back to what they were. So that's how I look at it, that you have to just stand up and say, this is enough, because I made my kids suffer. Not meaning to, but now I realize it's your job as a parent to separate your children from living in an unhealthy family life like that.
So I would just like to add that, Alberta, you know, in hindsight, we all wish we could have done something differently. But the message that you're sharing with people who have family members or themselves that have an addiction, that yes, we do the enabling, but there's a lot that goes along with that. You actually think you're doing them some good, or as I read in your book, you're hoping and praying that, I mean, all the days that you spent with him weren't like that. I mean, some days were wonderful. Your life would go along smooth and you'd be happy with the kids and all of that. And then suddenly he'd go back into, you know, the habits of the addiction and stuff. And there was a break in time where he was also doing well. And so you keep that hope alive and hang on to those precious memories. And so as you continue to share your story with others, I hope it's empowering, and it also teaches us that, you know, addictions, they lead from can lead us on a different path, and in hindsight we wish we could change things, but it's not only us that's doing the addiction, it's the other family members that are suffering as well. So thank you for sharing your story, your book. It's pretty heavy, and just keep on keeping the faith that you have, and I appreciate you so for writing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Miss Vicki, if you could tell us a little bit about Miss Tootsie.
Well, if everybody that was here earlier got a chance, that's Miss Tootsie. And she's not really, Tootsie's not even my dog, she's my daughter's dog. but you know who gets to care for her, right?
Oh, okay. So Tootsie is a dog?
Tootsie is a dog. It's a story about a dog. When I was teaching a class with Willie for the Friends of the Library, we needed a couple more extra stories. And Tootsie was something, Tootsie's in the house. And I said, gee, she never had any kids. So I'm saying to myself, I wonder what it would be like for a dog who never had kids, puppies, to have puppies. So I decided to write the story. It's a made up story. It's all made up, and I put a little bit of myself in it, giving her my personality. So when you hear me read the beginning of the story, you'll understand what I mean. All right.
Okay.
So, in a happy home lived a bright, happy dog, a 4-year-old Shih Tzu mix. Tootsie is not the queen of the castle, but her castle is her home. Tootsie makes her daily visit to all her loyal subjects. There's Frank the turtle, Woody the owl, Francine the ferret, and Joseph the multicolored fish. They've all gotten used to Tootsie daily visits. She always makes a loyal subject feel like family. But lately, Tootsie has made less frequent visits to her subjects. She has been rather preoccupied since she has given birth to 4 baby puppies, all boys. There's Apple with an adorable red patch located under his belly. Pumpkin has the oddest shaped head, like a pumpkin. Wally is the most inactive of all her puppies. And Phantom was a bit smaller at birth than the other puppies. As a first-time mommy, Tootsie is somewhat overprotective, especially Phantom. Phantom was born with one of his paws bent inward, which makes him special and makes it difficult for him to walk and play like his brother. Tootsie is a helicopter mom who knows how special Phantom is, and she watches him constantly. Phantom is not concerned with what he can't do, but he's trying to discover what he can do. He's not going to let his flawed paw stop him. Tell that to Tootsie. She spots Phantom slowly moving away and brings him right back with his brother. Tootsie has a tight grip on Phantom. He tries to be independent, but his mother is intent on keeping his little one close by and out of harm's way. So that was me with my kids. I was that overprotective mom. So I kind of incorporated myself in Tootsie, who doesn't have any puppies. And, I remember things as a kid hearing, descriptive things in writing when you're growing up. You're taught how to describe things. So I said, okay, let me sort of describe some things that I'm familiar with. So that's why you get the pumpkin as one of the dogs and stuff like that. So that's what it comes from. It comes from a collection of all the things that I've heard about dogs and wanting to know, giving Tootsie the ability to be sort of me. So
that's very interesting too, because even though Tootsie had some paw issue, she didn't let that stop from continuing on. And so you're teaching that no matter what, difficult, what disability or thing that's different about us, it can also be empowering. And to think that, animals are like people's best friend. And so you're using that in your imagination as well to bring Tootsie to life and make it relatable to us. So that's very good. Thank you so much, Vicki.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm looking at the time now, which is 7:45. And so now we can open things up for questions and give the authors a moment to respond to those. But before I do that, I just want to take a moment and say thank you to the people who have joined us on the call. Whether I see your face or not, I want to take a moment to acknowledge you. So outside of my amazing authors, I'm going to say thank you to our attendees, Wilma Brown, Lynn Renee, Anne Marie. Anne Marie, what a great background you got in the background there. I've been checking that out. Is that going to be a book cover? Also Nancy Conrad. Hi, Nancy. Thank you. And Vivian, I see you there. And Music is Healing. Now I put a face to the name. And we also have someone on the call that's identified as iPhone. Thank you for taking, oh, that's you, girl. That's Cordelia. And then there's Lou. Thank you for joining us. And Sandra and Willie Pleasance. Hi, Willie. And Joyce Smith.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good.
Thank you for continuing to support the Author Spotlight series.
You're welcome.
And thank you for introducing me to Vicki.
You're welcome.
And we also have Joyce Smith and also Dorothy. So thank you. Hi, Lou. So thank you all for joining us. So I have some questions. I didn't see anything in the chat. If I missed something, I will check back in there again. So let's just take a look at some questions. And this one, I'm just gonna go back. I asked Susan what inspired her to write the book. So I think I'm gonna ask the same question of Rebecca, Alberta, and Vicki. So if you could just give us a minute on what inspired you to write your book, that would be great. Just repeat the title again. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to see if any of our attendees have a question for you. So, okay, so I'm going to start with you, Rebecca, because Susan already answered that question for us.
Awesome, thank you. Well, to be honest, I had this idea for the story right when I finished my master's program a couple years ago. So back in 2019, and it's kind of just been fostering in my brain until then. And like I said at the very beginning of this session, it was really everything that has happened throughout this year. I started really writing pen to paper this story in about May, which is when the Black Lives Matter movement really started to pick up again. It's when we were at like the worst of the pandemic at that point. You know, the political turmoil was obviously happening, and it was really all of those emotions and me recognizing that I was having issues processing them and talking about them, and, you know, wanting to do something for the kiddos that I work with that are a part of my life, my little cousins, wanting to let them know that it's very brave to cry. It's brave to tell people how you feel. It's actually not brave to hide that in and keep it inside. Tell people how you're feeling. So obviously that's the message of my story. It's brave to cry. And that's really why I started writing this story this year.
Thank you again, Roberta. Now I'm going to ask, I'm sorry, Rebecca. Now I'm going to ask Alberta, what inspired you to write your book?
Well, I really felt like after I lost my husband and daughter and looked at my life that I lived behind closed doors, that I needed to share it with not only the public, but also to go into rehabs and halfway homes, court-ordered programs. I went all around, even newspapers, as much media as I could get, because I wanted to share what I thought I did wrong, hoping, you know, I even talk at the jails. It's not easy. I was a wreck going into a jail, to be honest with you, but I was willing to talk to anybody. And my talk isn't just about my life. I want to reach them to let them know that they're good people. It's just that they went down the wrong track. And also to give them hope that there is a chance to recover again, that they're just so lost. They need somebody to support them.
Thank you. And Vicki, did you want to add anything to the inspiration and motivation behind the book that you may not have shared?
No, just the fact that it's the title of the book is Right On, Right On. And it's a collection of the Friends of the Uplands Corner writers, along with the Beefitters, Boston Home community writers, and with the help of the Authors Without Border. It's if there's more stories in it, mine is just one in it, like we said earlier, and mine is Tootsie. But like I said, it's going to be, we're using it as a fundraising tool. So we would love to be able to do another anthology.
So perhaps, Vicki, perhaps I should get in contact with you and see if maybe there are other people who would be willing to spotlight this story, and I could dedicate, you know, author spotlight series to some of the other authors as well, because I would be, I would love to support them any way I can, and having that anthology is great. So I'll reach out to you again,
Yes, you
okay?
can.
All right, so I do see some questions in the chat. So I'm gonna try to do this without losing anybody. All right, so here's my question from Nancy. Okay, Nancy had to leave, but she wanted to let you know that all the authors and the readings were interesting and excellent, so thank you. So Nancy, when you listen back to this recording, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on this call. Now, Susan, I have a response here. Did you have to reply to someone, Susan?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, I didn't see the question, I just see the response.
They asked if I had a spiritual, Susan, did you have some sort of spiritual awakening before writing your book,
Okay.
Cordelia? And I said yes, that I was diving in deep into my spirituality, that there were signs that I could no longer ignore that was leading me to pursue and move forward.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Very good, I see that now. Thank you so much. Can you elaborate, and also, do you write poetry as well? Who's that question for?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I see.
That question's for Susan.
Oh, for Susan.
Oh,
Yeah.
the poetry. Do I write poetry? Well, I haven't really gone into that phase of writing. It's more of the emotions of healing is what I'm focusing on right now. And even with my second book, which I'll show you the cover, if I may, it is in the pregnancy stages. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm illustrating. So this is the cover to the second book, The Beauty of Nya, and it's about saving the water. It has purpose. It gives us life. The mer folks, as well as humans, have to come together and figure out the key that is going to save humanity and our sea life, our sea creatures. So it's more about humanity coming together as one and coming through the thread of love. It doesn't matter what path you take, as long as you take it and there's unity for the greater good.
I look forward to reading that, The Beauty of Nya. Thank you for mentioning that too.
Thank
And Alberta, this question is for you. Do you find that loss makes a person stronger?
I think loss with my my husband and my daughter gave me more thought of finding out exactly about alcoholism. That's why I wrote The Mindset of an Alcoholic and Addict by the contributors, because I wanted to learn what they think. Because I thought, what was my daughter thinking? What was I missing to do with her? So that's why I have this book. Back then they had a site called Reporter Connection. It's too bad it's no longer on there. And you can write what you want somebody to help you with. And I wanted contributors for them to open up their heart. Believe it or not, I gave them 23 questions on how they started drinking. Did their family drink? What age did they drink? How did they drink? What did they use? And how their state was at the time. Some were still recovering. Like I said, I have one section, part one in my new book, that it has just people, kids that are under 9 years old that drank and told their story, how they started. So it's really, it made me want to learn more because I thoroughly enjoy talking to alcoholic and drug users. I hope that helped.
It does. If you see me looking away, I'm just trying to check the chats and make sure I don't miss anything. Lou, is this, Rebecca, are you responding back and forth to Lou?
Yes, I'm sorry. I've totally dominated the chat.
Oh,
Valerie.
no, that's
Ignore
fine.
me.
That's fine. Because she asked, this isn't a question, but she thinks your book is lovely and important. And it's such a joy to see the grown up that you've become. So that's wonderful to have her on there. And then I see conversations going back and forth between the two of you. That's fine. I'm just scrolling along. So Rebecca, this question is for you as well. What age group is your book for?
Yeah, I did respond in the chat, but happy to share with everyone that my book is for 4 to 8 year olds. So kindergarten to 3rd graders.
Perfect. All right. And so this is wonderful. I see the response there. Your target audience is 4 to 8 year olds. Okay, so that's all I saw in the chat. And then I was taking a peek at questions that I would have received in advance, and I think I covered the majority of them. So what I'm going to do now is just go back around and find out if you had any. First, I'm going to ask you if you have any advice or helpful information that you would like to share with anybody who's thinking about writing a book, and then I'll go. Then I will also have you close out eventually with what's new, what's next, what's happening, and how can we connect with you. So I'll start with Susan. Susan, can you just share with us what tips would you give somebody? I'll repeat that question again. What advice or helpful information would you like to share with someone who's thinking about writing a book?
Go, go, go. Take those steps. It's not about the big picture. It's about moving. It doesn't matter what pace. Just get that pen, get that paper, and start just taking, even if it's just 15 to 30 minutes a week, a few days in the week, write, jot down. Before you know it, you have something profound. Surround yourself with people that are writers, groups, and even chat groups, and learn, research, different techniques, different ways of writing. What do you want to write? Nonfiction, fantasy, mystery. I say go for it. You've got nothing to lose. It's a great adventure.
Great.
A really good adventure.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was pretty moved by the piece when you wrote, when I was reading what your advice would be, and you said to also believe in the magic.
Believe in it, yes, because it is magic. And I truly feel that my journey now is about the magic. I'm believing in me. I'm believing in the divine that's in me. And it's taken me into a whole different realm that things are possible, but you have to dare to believe. So it's living the dream, believe you can. I say God is faithful.
All right, I love that. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to ask the same question of Miss Rebecca. And Rebecca, can you share what advice or helpful information would you like to share with someone who's thinking about writing a book?
Yeah, well, I obviously second everything Susan said. I mean, I think first and foremost, you have to believe in yourself and ignore the imposter syndrome thoughts and recognize that you are doing this because you want to, and that should be enough of a reason to do it. But something that was really helpful for me as I started writing this story and navigating the self-publishing process was joining a bunch of Facebook groups for first-time authors or first-time illustrators. I am in groups for women authors or Black authors. There's so many different Facebook groups out there. and everyone's really willing and able to help. I was literally asking questions to these Facebook groups every day with any little thing that I just wasn't sure about, like, what kind of label printer should I get when I'm shipping all of my books? Which font do you guys like to use for your children's books? Everything. I really just wanted other people's opinions, and there are so many people out there willing to help. Even though you are self-publishing your own story, you're really not alone. You just got to ask for the help. So that would be my advice.
Well, thank you for that, Rebecca. And so we know that writing can be a lonely journey, but thank goodness to what you said about the Facebook communities and support groups. One of the other things that I noticed is you said that no question is a bad question, and it's amazing to have the support, a support team to rely on. So it's great, and thank you for sharing that response to that question. So next, it's Miss Alberta Sequeira, right?
Yes.
I just had to repeat it because I just want to make sure I got this right. And so I'm going to ask you the same question. Share one thing you'd like my audience to, what advice or helpful information you'd like to share with someone who's thinking about writing a book?
Well, I say don't dream it. Don't talk about it. Just live it. Start today, and you start with your first sentence. You shouldn't be scared, because you actually should look at your computer as a friend. And I say that seriously, because you can add, you can delete, you can copy, you can take information off the internet. You can move events around. If you got something that happened in 1995 and something way back at the very end was even before that, you can move it. There's nothing wrong that you can do with writing. The only thing you have to be careful of, to me, is always save. Make such a mistake of not saving. And I mean that even at the end of the day on a disc, you're going to lose so much. But, it's really your world if you wanted to write. If you keep putting it off, you're never going to have that dream come true. So time goes too fast, write so you don't regret it. And don't worry about you have to become a bestseller. And don't worry about you have to write like this author, or be yourself. Don't worry. I mean, it's nice to have an audience, but write what's in your heart, and you will hit somebody who wants to read that story.
That's so true. That's so true. So, and I like the fact that you said it doesn't have to be a bestseller either. You just want to get that writing and get it done, because you also mentioned how you would regret it if you didn't write that story. So I do believe in the power of storytelling. So let's go on to Miss Vicki. So if you had something you would share, what advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about writing a book?
Well, seeing that this is maybe this is the first published story that I've had. My thing is write it, finish it, proofread it, publish it, and then sell it to anyone who buys it.
Well, that's good. Thank you so much, because you said write it, finish it, proof it, publish it, and then sell it to everyone. Because the one thing about self-publishing is that you have to promote your book all the time. And it doesn't matter if you wrote that book in 2017 or 1995. That book is yours. It belongs to you, and people need to hear your story. So I did have, let's see, something else is going on in this busy little chat machine here. I want to make sure I don't want to miss anybody. Here's a question. Are all the authors self-published, and why? So I'm going to go with you, Susan.
My publisher is Mascot Books. I chose them because once again, after I completed the book, I wasn't sure where to go from there. And I started doubting myself. And so I just put it out there, I need to find a publisher. And so I ended up going to a restaurant, and one of the waitresses talked about her book, and she talked about mascot books, and that's how I came across mascot books, and then did some research and sent everything in, and then forgot about it, didn't think it was going to happen. Weeks later, I get an email stating that they're interested, and here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, okay, so I'm going to ask the same question of Rebecca. Your book self-published, and if so, why?
Yeah, I decided to self-publish my book. Like Susan, though, I did reach out to a few different publishing companies once my manuscript was done to see what would happen. Unlike Susan, though, I didn't get so much positive responses. I actually got some publishing companies asking that I made some big changes, like change my characters to animals or included more women or more white characters into my story. And that was something I was really strongly against. So because of that, I realized how important it was for me for this first story of mine to be my absolutely own words and my own project and me making all of the decisions. So that's, yeah, quickly after I sent it in, I made the decision to actually not go that path and do it myself.
And I'm really happy that you did not change that. So yeah, one of the things is sticking to what you believe and following your gut, even though people may try to change what your thought process is on that. And kudos to you for that. Also, I'm going to ask that your books, since I'm asking the question, if you could also tell me when I go back to you around your books, how do we go about getting a copy of your books? Are they available on Amazon, Rebecca?
Yeah, so you can get my book paperback or hardcover or ebook on Amazon, but you could also get paperback or hardcover on my own website, which is preferred, at RebeccaRobinson.org.
Okay, great. I'll ask you to repeat that when I wrap up at the end. Susan, how do we get a copy of your book? Would that be available on Amazon?
It should be available at Amazon, but also through Mascot Books.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So Alberta, I'm going to ask you the same question about your book. Is it self-published, and is it available on Amazon?
The book is self-published. I started out with Create-Space, and as we all know, Create-Space has gone in partnership with Amazon, so it's in paperback and Kindle. But the reason I went with self-publishing, I didn't want to wait a year or two for my book to get out because I already felt like I had a topic with an audience. I can go anywhere, in schools and businesses, women's organizations, anything with the medical field to talk about this subject. So that's why I self-published the book. And it's funny because now with all my other books coming up, I'm just playing the field to see if I can get a bite on a traditional publisher, but I'm doing something my husband has told me for years, 14 years to do, and I haven't done. He said, make a time limit. So that's what I've done. I've got books out to publishers. I'm waiting till April. If nothing happens, I'm going to self-publish them with Amazon, and I'm going to sit back in my retirement and write for myself and enjoy it and not worry about how many books I sell or if I'm going to make a lot of money.
Right. Yeah, write that story because it's helping people, and that's the ultimate goal too. All right.
Yeah,
so
my book is on Amazon. But if people want to go direct to it, it's very easy. Just go to amazon.com/author/Alberta Sequeira, and you'll go right to my page.
Okay, great. I'll probably put if you want to put that information in my chat, and when I send out a notice to everybody that was on the call, I'll gladly include that information. That's to all of you authors as well. So if you want us to find your books and you want to throw it in chat, I'll gladly do that, or your social media page. And so now I'm going to go to Miss Vicki. Same question. Is your book self-published? But I know that this is a passion book for you as well. And is it also available on Amazon?
It's available at Amazon, on Amazon, and you can also pick it up at the Uplands Corner Library, because we are friends of the Uplands Corner Library, so it'll be at the your local library. And yeah, it is self-published because Willie is a strong advocate for self-publishing along with Alberta.
Very good. Thank you so much. I see a question. It's about 8:11. So what I want to do is, I don't want to miss anyone. My last question was, like, what do you have coming up? Any promotional information or advertisements? So I'm just going to ask that you put in that, tell us how to reach out to you on social media or your website, and I'll throw those in the minutes as well. But I would like to just take a moment and see if anyone in the audience, like I see Vivian, would like to ask a question. And so I would like to extend that courtesy. We have 15 minutes. Extend that courtesy to anyone else who wants to ask a direct question to any of our authors rather than put it in the chat. So Miss Vivian, if you're still with us, I hope I didn't lose you.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Hi. I just wanted to, what I had was really just a reflection, not really a question, for each of the authors. First of all, for Rebecca, your story about crying and boys crying and just the passion that you wrote your book with, to me, that's courage. That's my takeaway with that, is courage. And you know, having a book that has men of color, a little boy, his dad, people sort of sometimes think that's not, you know, that the book won't sell or it won't be interesting, but that's not true. I'm so glad that you kept true to what you wanted to do. The book was wonderful, and I could sort of sense the passion that you wrote it with. And Susan Drayton,
thank you so much.
You're welcome, Susan. Your book to me was about, it said healing, and certainly healing is a part of something that everybody needs healing somewhere about something, whether it's because brokenness is a part of the human experience. So if it's healing in a relationship, it could be healing in a physical body, it could be healing emotionally or mentally or spiritually, but healing is universal. And so that was my takeaway from you, Susan. You're welcome. Thank you. Alberta, your book is certainly about hope and healing and courage and everything and all of the above as well. Just appreciate your just real genuine honesty and transparency to share something that is just that many people have experience with in one way or another. It's another kind of brokenness, you know, having relationships with someone in the family who has addiction. For me, it was my brother with drugs and the domestic violence that was in my home. So it reminded me of that. And I just appreciate just your bare, open transparency and how many people it's going to touch and really make a difference in their lives as well. Thank you. And Vicki, your book and this anthology that you're doing, I really would like to learn a lot more about that. Just really inspired me what you wrote and how you were writing it, and just how you interposed your personality with Tootsie, I believe it was. So so thank you all. I just had one very quick question, then I'm going to shut up. I have journals that I've written for years. So I have journals all over my house because I was a journaler from when I was 16. So I don't have anything on a computer. So the suggestion is to just start writing it on the computer. I guess I have to do that. I just have journals because I'm a physical writer. Is there hope for me with all these journals that I have?
You know, I suggest that you do what you just said, write everything in the computer. Like I said before, don't worry if it doesn't go in the time span you want. At least you'll have it. But when you get it in there, my suggestion is do not throw those papers away.
Correct.
And make sure everything is kept on another disc, or I call a pen disc. Always, always keep something you have until that book is actually published.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to add to that as well. It's funny that I kept journals with no intent on at the very beginning. I mentioned that sometimes, you know, you don't know why you're doing things. I had no intentions on writing a book. But the book that I did end up writing about is that in my family, we had experienced some tragedies, and I had lost 5 family members in a fire. Now, this was back in 1974. And so I had been keeping these journals, just writing in these journals about my experiences and life happening. And then in 2017, just writing about it, putting it on paper and starting to type it out because it was already on paper. It wasn't in any kind of format. I mentioned to my mother that I had these notes, and she encouraged me to, you know, why don't you just write about it now? I mean, now that I'm to the point where I had gone through the storm and I wanted to share the story. My book is called Love Lives On, and it's about tragedy and how you overcome it, and you know, the lessons that we learn through faith and friends and family and the power of positive thinking. So to connect with your question about the journaling, all I had was journals. And then I put it together in writing. And Alberta mentioned that it doesn't matter, just write it and put it, because you can cut and paste and sort and create. And also I ended up writing several other books based on notes. And my latest one is a book. It's about my love story. Now, I have been keeping little journals about me and my husband. We started dating as teenagers. I've been just celebrated my 45th wedding anniversary this past July.
Oh, wow.
So I wrote a book called Our Love Story, but I was able to go back and look at the different you know, occasions that happened in our life. The book isn't a perfect book. It's just our life, and it's a short read. And it's our love story. And so that came also from journals. So my point is that you never know, once you actually start typing it, you get inspired and empowered. And just telling somebody about it, like I said, oh, I'm writing a book. Like right now I'm working on, and then I'm gonna be quiet. Right now I'm working on a book with my, out of this COVID-19 and the kids being out of school, I decided to schedule weekly meetings with my granddaughters, which are twins, and my niece. And so we started off reading other authors' books. And during that time, I share stories about other authors, which is why I mentioned about Rebecca's book, that I'll be sharing that with them this Sunday. And then we started, we always use our imagination. And so I started recording those, and now we're actually working on a book ourselves. And so that's going to be coming out in the spring. So I'll be reaching out to some of you who know illustrators to see if I can get some help. So write. I think that all of us are saying that same thing. Just write it. Don't look for perfection, and that you'll be surprised. It can be an easy read. It could be a novel. It could be an anthology. Just get the writing. All right. So we have 10 minutes. So is there anyone that I didn't call on that might want to ask the author something or make a comment?
I do. I love, hi, Sandra. I see a lot of the people, Miss Brown, I see a lot of people that I know. And Vicki, you did a wonderful job. And Susan, I'm so glad you and Alberta decided to hook up and do this. I think it's wonderful. I think Valerie do such a great job. And everybody that's listening to Valerie's show, please write, do it. Don't hesitate.
Very
great
good.
job, you guys.
Thank you. How about Sandra? Are you looking to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say something to Alberta, that I read your book when I met you the first time on Healing Hearts. Yeah. And I want to say that although I'm not an alcoholic, but I live with a whole bunch of alcoholic, and I come from an alcoholic family. But what struck me more than anything was about the spiritual, your spiritual search and how it is. in particular on your journey.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's the one that's with the publisher right now, about my journey to Magic Ori and meeting.
yes,
It's a very spiritual book.
it is.
I appreciate you reading it.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Wilma, would you like to add anything? If not, don't feel pressured.
I actually wanted to say something if possible. Oh, sorry.
No, I just like to say I enjoyed this evening. All the authors were very good. Got me thinking maybe I should write a book. I got a lot going on, and I have had a lot going on in my lifetime. And I have written something, little short stories.
Beautiful.
And I did a little storytelling at one time. So maybe I might just start. It's never too late.
Well, if you need anything, encouragement or guidance or whatever, you certainly know how to get in contact with Wilma, myself, Willie, myself, or any one of us. I continue to keep your name and email addresses. You'll be getting notifications from me for other author spotlights. I do appreciate your support, and just get to writing. We're here for you. We got to support and empower each other. And that's really why this author spotlight series was born. So thank you, Wilma.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Next is Music is Healing. Did you want to make a comment?
Yes, I just wanted to say congratulations to all the authors. Really enjoyed hearing about the variety topics that you're dealing with. I could really sense and feel the passion that you all bring to your writing. So it's encouraging for me as a writer myself to be surrounded by such positive voices, and all the writings seem to have a strong desire to get a message out there, which I can personally relate to. So I think that's really that's really wonderful. And so I just wanted to say thank you for your writing, and I hope that you reach many more people out there. And thank you to Cordelia for letting me know about this series today. Congratulations, this is great.
Very good. Thank you for taking the time to join us as well. It's so nice that our stories, are for men and women. And so I extend the invitation as well to anybody on this call. My email address is valerie.r.foxx, Foxx, @gmail.com. If you need any guidance or you want to get in contact with any of these authors, again, when this is posted, when I get this video up live and posted, I will be sending an email out to those of you who registered for this workshop. For this event, and then I will share the authors' email addresses with you in case you want to reach out to them as well. So the next person I'm going to say, Lou, are you all set with the group, or did you want to say anything?
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you. This was lovely, and I really enjoyed hearing everyone's stories and seeing Rebecca again.
Very good. Thank goodness. And how about Anne Marie? Anne Marie, did you want to add anything? You're on mute, hon. Can you? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I say thank you so very much. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Susan, thank you so much for inviting me on. I've read her book. I love it. But all the authors, you all are so inspiring. Thank you.
And thank you for taking time to join us. And Willie made a comment already, so that leaves Joyce and Dorothy. Joyce, do you want to say anything, or?
Thank you, ladies. You're encouraging me to write some more. And I really enjoyed all your books and what you've been going through. It's like a life learning lesson, and it doesn't stop. And I appreciate all your work. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Joyce, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were done. Thank you for joining us. And last is Dorothy. Dorothy, did you want to say anything to the authors?
Sure. I enjoyed, I got kids and grandkids in the background. I enjoyed definitely being on here. I enjoyed your story, Susan, and definitely Vicky's and Alberta's. I know her story. And Rebecca, I definitely enjoy that. I have a granddaughter now. She is 7. So that would be definitely great for her to read.
Good.
She definitely
love that.
needs that. So,
Good.
so
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Dorothy.
You're welcome.
All right, ladies. So we got 1 minute for each person to say something in closing. Susan?
Say that again.
We have 1 minute to share with us something you would like to share. Anything?
Dream
What's
big.
coming up?
Dream big. I'm working on future near, like very soon, close, hopefully, in the near future, some book signings. And also I am in the process of looking for an agent as well, with both books. So that's where I am at the moment. And
what's your email address? That's what I meant to ask. I'm sorry. What's your email address?
My email address, well, they can contact me through Worthiness by Susan Drayton at Dragon and Fairies. I'm also on Instagram, Dragon and Fairies 555. And my email is draytonsusan123@gmail.com.
Okay, so I do have all of that information as part of the questions for you guys. So if I have something you don't want me to share, like I have your email addresses, obviously I wouldn't share your phone number, your email and your website address, I would put those in my notifications when I let people know that your videos are live, that this recording is live. And then Alberta, I also have your email address and your website. And Vicki, I have your email address and I will share that in the notes as well. So it's 8:28. I like to keep the time going, keep everybody reminded of what the time is, because I appreciate your time. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm just sharing. That's my whole point. And so there'll be more Office Spotlight series. So what'll happen is I'll continue to notify you of upcoming events. I try to do them on the 3rd Thursday of every month at 7 o'clock. If anybody, I also have a blog talk radio show called Phenomenally Speaking with Valerie Foxx. So if any of you are interested in me interviewing you on my blog talk show, I'll be more than happy to do that as well. Other than that, stay in touch with me. I'll keep sending you emails about upcoming things. But if at any point you want to have your name removed from my email list, just let me know and I'll respect that as well. So let's support each other and be safe. Think positive thoughts. I believe in you. Let's get these stories out to the world. They need to hear them. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.